Значить. О, Грузія з'явилася. О, приємно. Невже Грузія у нас є взагалі, значить. Грузія чує нас? Пані Олексіє, поможіть там Грузію спитати англійською, вони українську не знають.
Dear Georgia, do you hear us? Я дивлюсь, що вони під'єднуються, тому
вони будуть включити.
Тому дайте їм ще трохи часу.
Так, я піду виключу другий комп'ютер, на секундочку відлучуся.
Увімкніть, будь ласка, мікрофон. Іване, пане Іване, потрібно увімкнути мікрофон.
Так, все, я з'явився. Все, давай, я пішов, переключаюсь на Zoom. Давай, працюємо. Так, служба доповідає, наша ТБ-7, наш партнер головний, що у нас вже працює трансляція в Ютубі, і ми вже можемо через 3 хвилини починати. Так, допідключаємося, ще Грузію чекаємо. Важливо. І пана Тараса чекаємо. Так, підключається Європейський університет. Європейський університет, ми з ними в 2019 році починали першу пілотну командно-штабну гру. Ще без карт, без кіберплатформ. Це був досить такий сміливий проєкт, і я вдячний Європейському університету і Олені Іванівні Тимошенко, що вони нас підтримали тоді. В важкий такий час старту.
Пане Іван, у мене в Сумах і учні підключились. Ви ж не проти?
Ні, тільки за.
Вони там, я вже побачила, вони повиходили. Там Олександра Косенка, це учні мої вже вийшли з дому.
Бачу, дякую.
Ага.
Значить, поки є ще 2 хвилини, вже немає 2 хвилин, значить, залишається у нас ще Георгія, Грузія залишається. Так, є пропозиція починати? Ні, ще 1 хвилина. Так, Анатолій, я на запис ставлю чи не ставлю в рекорді? Все, поставив. Так, на моєму годиннику 17:00.
So it is 5 sharp with me. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I suggest that we start our today's event. So today we have a masterclass on using story maps, ArcGIS, for their development of historic maps or of information work. It was announced the 4th of February in the Central Officer House of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and it was actually intended that this technology and this knowledge would be used by the Department of Humanitarian and Social Provision of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine for the organization of the national and patriotic upbringing in the future. Due to the fact that back then we didn't have this report, it was on the initiative of the Lviv Lyceum of the Kruty heroes. We decided to have a masterclass involving two lyceums, which is the Lyceum, the Cadet Lyceum, named after General Lviv from Kaunas, and the Cadet Lyceum from Kutaisi, Georgia, named after Georgi Kvinitadze. And we have decided to dedicate this masterclass to an ordinary person, Yevhen Konovalets, an outstanding Ukrainian. And this figure is really important for contemporary Ukraine. First of all, as our scientists have informed us, in particular Igor Seletsky, Yevhen Konovalets was the first to introduce the notion of information war under Russian Bolshevism. And I think I don't need to clarify the topicality of this issue. The other thing which is important for us was that Yevhen Konovalets conducted the first strategic information campaign on counteracting the annexation of the territory of Lithuania. That's why Lithuania also considers him to be a national hero. And the third fact is that Yevhen Konovalets is among hundreds and thousands of people who were killed by the terrorist Moscow state, which means that the study of his historical path and all the aspects of his activities today are really topical to counteract the aggressor. Story maps are the technology which is suggested to be used for integrated classes, information science, geography, subject domain of history, and other ones. Land studies, area studies, biology, zoology, protection of the motherland, and so on and so forth. So this is a rather important and interesting technology. And after our participants will have their say, some of them will introduce themselves. I would ask Taras, can you hear me? Yeah. I would ask you to give the floor, the welcoming speech, because you are the initiator. Thank you for this honor. Well, first of all, we are all the initiators of this event, I would say. And today, here in Lviv, we have our team, which is ready to start this stage of this game. But in my welcoming speech, I would like to welcome our Lithuanian colleagues, in particular, the deputy director of the Cadet Lyceum, named after Pelekhavichus, Richardas Žaliatis. You're welcome. So we would like to welcome him and the whole staff of the Lyceum and the whole Lithuanian people on their day of independence, which is today in Lithuania. That is a rather symbolic fact that it is on that day, the day of their independence, that we're launching the project, which is related to some people or to one person, Colonel Yevhen Konovalets, who played such an important role in the history of both Ukraine and Lithuania. And we are intertwining this into a wider context of teaching our Lyceum students to modern GIS technologies, to modern means of working with information in general, in particular with the information which they will come in handy in their professional activities as future defendants of Ukraine. It's also a pleasure for me to point out that in our team of this hobby group, we have one Lyceum student who, actually, or rather his parents by origin, are from Lithuania, and therefore I would like to give the floor to Tomas Medaiko, who is a Lyceum student and a member of our team, for having some welcoming speech. Thank you. Great. Good afternoon. I'm Tomas Medaiko. I'm really happy that I can participate in this project, and I do believe that the future is about technologies, and I hope that we will manage to do everything the way we have planned, that we will master this program, and we will work not only from people from Lithuania, but with other international lyceums, academia, including Ukrainian ones, other Ukrainian ones. Thank you.
My friends from Lithuania, I wish you all of the best. I wish you all of the best. Happy Independence Day. I hope that Ukraine and Lithuania will be a partners at the future. Thank you so much.
Дякую.
Thank you.
Дякуємо вам, і ми готові до
Thank you.
змагання.
And we are ready for the competition. And we are ready for the cooperation.
Пане
Thank
полковнику,
you. Mr. Colonel, I'm now addressing the Lithuanian side. Please have some welcoming speech as well.
я не чуємо вас, ми вас не чуємо.
We cannot hear you, unfortunately. Something is wrong with your microphone. We still cannot hear you.
Поки Литва у нас
So in
перевіряє,
the meantime, while the Lithuanian side is checking the connection, Georgia, are you here with us? Can you hear us?
добре. На цьому ми
Good. So
підготуємо
let's
частину
stay with
запитань.
this. As far as our welcoming introductory part is concerned, I would like to point out that, psychologists claim that fear is the uniting factor and the driving engine that keeps people moving and keeps them get united. Really, we are posed with a great threat, which is the Moscow empire of the evil. And theoretically it should actually unite us. But in this fact, we are united not due to fear, but we're united thanks to modern technologies. And we are uniting around modern technologies, which have been provided to all secondary education institutions within the global project of education modernization from Esri company. And the participants of this project have a chance to master the most universal, the most modern technologies of the future in terms of organizing space for analysis, visualization, and organizing their future.
Тому цей захід має надзвичайно
That's why this event is really of importance for professional guidance, for the understanding of where we are moving, where the world is moving, and what our children will be faced in the future. Now I give the floor to our lecturer, a rather powerful, one of the best experts in the field of GIS technologies, a very good and talented lecturer and the facilitator of the GIS-forum, Wilker Rodina. You're welcome.
Доброго дня, дорогі колеги.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues.
Радий вас вітати. Іване
Glad to
Вікторовичу,
meet you. Can you hear me? Yes.
прекрасно.
Great.
Пане Тарасе, я
Taras,
бачу вашу
I can
аудиторію,
see your audience, but your cadet students are sitting somehow to the side. Maybe they could move closer to the camera for them to feel more comfortable, but it's up to you to decide. They are staying at the computers, and we were told that they could have a chance to use computers. I think it would be better right now for them to just listen to their lecture, and we will speak about the application a little bit later. All right, thank you. Thank you. Ivan, how much time do I have?
Я думаю, що нам бажано до 18 години.
I think that actually we need to finish by 6, but 10 minutes past 6. Okay, clear. So, dear colleagues, dear friends, I will try to split my presentation into 4 basic parts, which will be coherent. I will tell you in brief about theory. I will tell you what story maps are and what the origin of this notion in our computer life is. I will show you a couple of examples of the things which have already been done using story maps. The third part of my presentation will be dedicated to considering development of some materials using technologies, how we could use maps, how we could use text, media materials to develop our own story. And then we will speak with you because probably you will have some questions. Maybe you will be interested in what needs to be done next and how you could improve yourselves in this direction. So let's start with the first part, with the presentation.
Іване Вікторовичу, я буду вас
Um,
питати, тому що ви на
Ivan,
зв'язку. Мій дисплей
can you see my display, my screen? Yes, I can see, but it's small, and you should somehow make it larger.
Ну, саму презентацію бачите?
But you
Да.
can see the presentation, right? But we cannot see what is written there. I guess that the other participants have the same problem.
Ну, будемо сподіватися,
Well, let's
що
hope that
нормально, якщо ні, то там
they can see it.
зворотній
If not,
зв'язок,
then
можливо,
there is some feedback, and we will
Що
you will address me. So what are story maps? Story maps are one of the many web services
пропонується компанією
that is
Esri
offered by Esri company
для створення
for
інтерактивних
the development of interactive
матеріалів,
web materials, web appendixes, web applications using maps and accompanying information sources like textual sources, videos, audio materials, pictures and drawings, and all the things that could be added to the website.
Чому полягає концепція?
What is
Чому
the essence of this concept?
можемо використовувати
Why can we
Story Map як
use story maps as a more efficient tool
для
for
подання інформації?
giving information on the internet? Well, first of all, we use story maps. We use maps within story maps, and you know, maps are a thing we are accustomed to. We are used to perceiving maps and perceiving geospatial information using maps. So, for example, if we take some historical information and link it to maps, we get some sort of factors, additional factors in our perception of material and memorizing and reconsidering this material and this information in a better way. When we link our historical data to the map-making materials, that sounds more convincing, that looks more convincing, and it's easier for us to perceive this material. And the most important thing is that using the tools and means which we are provided with by story maps, it's rather easy to create them. And you will see this a little bit later. And here is an important thing. History maps or story maps can be looked through using a web browser, and you understand that web browsers are available in any operational platform. This could be Windows, this could be Linux, and we could also use mobile applications, mobile gadgets, which means that these applications are multi-platform applications, and we do not have to be linked to a certain operational platform when we create and generate them. As far as the advantages of using story maps are concerned, you know, they provide more visual information. They develop certain skills like the skills of critical thinking, analytical thinking. An important advantage in the use of story maps is the fact that we can actually generate them without any direct involvement of any software developers and programmers. Just imagine, we can generate a very nice and bright web page without the involvement of any software designers. This means that in the map that map making stories could be developed by experts in a specific subject domain, and that is really important. Currently, there are many ways of using those story maps. You can look through them at the link which is available on the slide, and I will send you the presentation in the PDF format for you to be able to use those links. But now I'd like to consider together with you some available projects which are directly connected to the topics of military history. Let me start with the following.
Проекту.
With this project.
Проект називається Fucking and Country.
It is Fucking and Country, for the King and the Country. There a story of John Henry Cartwright, who participated in the Gallipoli operation. I'm sure that you know approximately about the events which took place there. This is 1914, 1915, when Great Britain set the task of
захоплення проток і
Turkey from
підведення
the army through conquering its straits and getting the army directly to the Turkish capital. This is called the Gallipoli operation in history. It was not a success. It was not victorious. It led to the defeat and failure, which, by the way, had a rather negative effect on the career of one outstanding British political figure, Winston Churchill, who, being the Lord of the Navy, was the commander of this operation.
минулих днів сторічної давнини, і ось
Well, that is a story which is 100 years old, and actually they developed this sort of interactive resource to disclose this story. So let's have a look at it and let's see what a story map could be like. I will just flick through those slides and comment. Well, first of all, what do we see here? We see the interactive map. You can see it is present here. And in the central part, we have the information block. And this information block has got certain content, illustrated content, and some textual explanations. You have here, for example, some scanned historical documents. And as you can see, looking through this information block, we change their map scale. And also, as you will see later, this map is interactive. It contains some content as well. And here, besides illustrations, we also have video materials.
Зверніть, будь ласка, увагу, під час зміни
Pay attention to the fact that while changing their view, if we change the view, this map actually gets adjusted to the content which we are looking through in the main textual column. I mean that we scroll the page backwards and we get back to the previous map. Then we scroll the page down and we get to the new textual page and to the new map. So actually the map fits right away into the place where the events are taking place.
Я досить швидко її зараз пролистаю,
I will just flick through it.
щоб ви мали собі уявлення. Матеріал досить
Just
багато.
to get the idea. That is very rich and illustrative material. There are a lot of archival documents supporting those operations. And all these materials, if you scroll down to these materials,
частину карти. З іншого
we
боку,
get
ми
over
можемо
to
карту
another part of the map. We can scale this map
розглядати так, як нам зручно.
and
От,
we may consider
власне,
it the way it feels convenient for us.
робота, вона дуже добре
So
ілюструє,
this
що ми
work illustrates really well what you can easily do using story map technology.
інший ресурс, який би я хотів
Another resource I would like to illustrate is also a story map dedicated to the events which are closer in time to us. That is the D-Day journey in Normandy, dedicated to the 75th anniversary of this military operation. And please pay attention to the fact that the style here is a little bit different. While in the previous map, in the background, we had some map part. Here in the background, we have a little bit different style of information provision, but at the same time, we do have the map here as well.
Тепер, будь ласка, подивіться, як у нас буде змінюватися
And have a look how the behavior of our web application changes during further looking through it. You can see I'm scrolling it and I get the interactive content of our map. I get the data from the attributive table, and this data is linked to scanned archival documents, which we can separately look through.
І сам цей веб-додаток, він
This web application is built in the way that we can actually follow the whole
військових
way of American military groups which participated in this D-Day journey operation, starting with their development of those groups and their formation up to their further
транспортування
movement and transportation to Great Britain.
Там далі ви побачите
And then
якісь нюанси пов'язані
you
з
will see some nuances related to their training as well.
Ось бачите скани листів.
You can see some scanned letters of soldiers.
Як бачите, за допомогою карти
And you can see that using the map, if we use the map and the supportive material, it makes the material more vivid and the historical picture becomes brighter.
у презентації є посилання на цей
The
ресурс.
presentation does contain the link to this web resource, so you will have a chance to look through it in greater detail. And now let's go over to another resource.
У нас уже події більш близькі.
Here are the events which are again still closer in time. This is the bombing or the bombing missions of the Vietnam War in the United States of America.
Використовується
Again,
певний
here we use a certain illustration style.
Зараз на даному етапі розвитку
At the current stage of web technology development, this style of introducing web information is close to land pages, is close to one-page applications, as we call them. But those who already tried to do some programming probably do know that development of this sort of
вони забирають досить багато
applications with such effect takes quite a lot of time and requires some knowledge. Now, we will try to develop together with you a similar application, but we will do it without the programming part, just using the story map technology.
Що нам потрібно
What do
для
we
того,
need for this? What do we need to develop such a sort of application on our own using the story
По-перше,
map technology?
потрібно підключення до
First of all, we need to have connection to ArcGIS Online or to our corporate ArcGIS server. if you have it. In my case, I'm going to use a resource which is more available, ArcGIS Online, and you can get access to it just after having registered at ArcGIS.com.
Коли ми заходимо на цей ресурс, у нас
And when we enter this resource, that's what we get. We get the list of the maps which we could publish
на нашому
within our ArcGIS Online page. Since the hosts of our event asked us to develop a story map dedicated to Lviv and Kaunas, the materials for this work have been selected by me with due account of
Але
this task.
перед тим, як щось
But before creating anything
за допомогою даної технології,
using this technology, we need, the same as in every other business, to develop a certain plan as to what we are going to highlight on our webpage.
у нас має бути
We
облікована кожна
need to have a well thought over plan as far as all our details are concerned, as far as the whole page which we want to create is concerned.
ArcGIS Online. Ми маємо зрозуміти, яка
We have to realize what kind of map we're going to have. We need to understand what textual and media materials are going to be placed there. Unfortunately, I had access only to the materials
в інтернеті.
which I have found on the internet, and this is primarily Wikipedia, from which I've taken some pictures and some textual materials.
А що стосується картографічної
And as far as the map making details are concerned, I took the data
для цієї роботи самостійно
independently. I developed this data independently on the basis of the data available.
маючи на увазі
So
невеличкий план роботи.
this was my plan, and within our story map dedicated to Lviv and Kaunas, I wanted to highlight the following things. This is the period of early years, his life, then World War I, then the period of his life which was connected to the siege of Streltsy, the Ukrainian army, then his activity in the emigration, and the memory, the reminiscences which we have, the remembrance
діяча.
left by this person.
Давайте з вами почнемо, власне кажучи, уже створювати нашу історію.
Let us start developing our story.
Як створюється історія за допомогою
How do we develop a story using the story map technology? When you connect to ArcGIS Online, in the top right corner, you will see this symbol, this square.
І тут у нас
And here
точніше буде
you will have
перелік
the
додатків,
full list of applications
які ви можете
which
створювати
you can
на
develop
вашому сервері
on
або
your
на
server
вашому
or
ArcGIS Online.
on your
В даному
ArcGIS
випадку
Online.
у мене тут є
In my case,
спеціальний додаток
I have
Story
taken a
Maps.
special Story Maps application in green. You can see it here. So let me open it in the new window.
І почнемо з формування нової
And let's start developing a new story.
Зразу, як ми починаємо
The moment we start developing a new story, we can select its type. There are several types here from which you can select. That is the site with the lateral block, then this is familiarization guide based on the map, then the tour based on the map of the research, and we will choose the simplest option for the beginning.
І ось тепер, шановні друзі, як ви бачите, ми
And here
в конструктор.
you can see this toolkit or designer,
Ми потрапляємо в конструктор, в якому ми
within which
будемо
we
конструювати
can construct our
нашу картографічну історію.
map
Що
story.
ми починаємо? Починаємо,
What do
звичайно,
we
з
start
назви.
with? Of course, with the title.
вписувати, якщо у вас уже є готовий
If
матеріал.
you have already got a ready-made material, it's not necessary to insert it manually. You can just copy-paste it. Let's do it in this way. Before we continue, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that here we can choose the design right away for our site. For this story map, we will choose the central location, the central cover. We will switch on navigation, and here we have some colors. Let's choose this one for the beginning. You can see that you don't need to write any code here. Just within this toolkit regime, we choose it.
Як буде виглядати в подальшому наш сайт?
We choose what our site is going to look like. I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that our story map is not yet published. Nobody can see it on the internet as yet, but here we have auto saving, and we don't have to fear that if the browser gets closed, our work will just be in vain.
В будь-який момент, на будь-якому етапі
And
створення
at any point of time, we can review, reconsider what we have created and see the way our story map looks like using their preview option.
Ну що ж, давайте з вами тут щось розмістимо.
So let's place something here. We have got the title.
Додамо
Let's add
до назви
to the title
підзаголовок. Я
their
не буду
subtitle.
нічого особливого писати. Це
I will not invent things here. This is just the date of birth and death of Yevhen Konovalets. And let's add some illustration here.
зразу звернути вашу увагу.
I would like to draw your attention to the fact that illustration
Тут передається просто звичайним
is pasted here
перетягуванням
through
вже
just
готової
bringing the ready-made picture or photograph to this place within their web page.
Ну, от, в принципі, перша сторінка у нас уже
So here
готова.
is the first page. It's ready.
Точніше, не перша сторінка, а
Rather not the first
заголовок.
page, but this is their cover page, the title of our website.
Давайте додамо новий
Let's
інформаційний
add
блок.
A new information block. Let's add information to the new information block.
Зверніть, будь ласка, увагу.
And please
як
pay
це
attention to the way it is done.
Ми вибираємо, натискаючи на
We press
плюс, вибираємо,
plus
який
and we
матеріал ми
choose the
хочемо
type of material we would like to add here. This could be text, this could be some management elements. These could be maps, these could be images, videos, audio materials, information, and even some code, like a graphic element.
Ми додаємо текстову інформацію.
We add some textual information here.
Іване Вікторовичу, мене там чутно, я не пропадаю.
Ivan, can you hear me well enough? Yeah.
Все нормально.
Yes,
Дякую.
everything is okay.
Дякую.
Great, thank you. Let's continue.
Значить, з цього боку, з основної
To this
інформаційної
side,
частини ми можемо додати карту,
we can add
додати
a map,
якесь там,
or
зображення відео,
some image, some video. So let's add
додамо.
a video.
Іван Вікторович прислав мені
Ivan has sent me the link to the publication, to the published lecture, right? That was the sound.
лекції, присвяченої Євгену
That
Коновальцю.
is a lecture dedicated to Ivan Konovalets, so let's add this link from YouTube. This is a lecture delivered by Colonel Petro Bolbach.
І давайте тепер переглянемо
And
наш
let's
попередній
have a
результат
look
якоїсь нашої роботи, яку
at the
ми зробили.
preliminary result of our work. So what have we got?
У нас є зображення,
We've got the image,
і у нас
the
є
title,
блок,
and we've got the
який
block,
ми сюди вже
which
додали.
we have already added here.
На етапі перегляду ми
At this
можемо
preview
подивитися, як
stage, we may also have a look at what this will look like on the computer,
на планшеті,
on the tablet,
на мобільному додатку,
and on the mobile phone,
на смартфоні.
on the
мається на увазі.
smartphone.
Давайте продовжимо. Як нам
Let's continue.
продовжувати
So how do we
нашу
continue with
історію?
our story?
У нас внизу є отака от
Down at the bottom, we have this area,
навігаційна. Тут ми
navigation
можемо додати
area,
новий слайд.
where we can
Як
add a new
ви можете
slide.
переконатись, у нас дана технологія трошки схожа на
This
ту, яку ми
technology
маємо
looks a little bit like
PowerPoint.
the one which we have in the PowerPoint application when we create presentations. So let's add one more slide with the new information.
Додаємо заготовлений раніше текст.
Let's add the text, which has been prepared
І
before.
тут уже додаємо
And
наш
here
блок.
we may
Цей
add
блок
our
буде
map.
присвячений
This block is
нашому
going to be dedicated to the birth and the beginning of the life path of Yevhen Konovalets.
Із списку карт, підготовлених мною раніше для цієї
Prepared a
роботи,
list of maps for this
ми
work,
вибираємо першу карту.
and I need to choose the first map.
І переходимо на ту її
And
частину,
to
яка
move to
присвячена
the
безпосередньо
part of it which is dedicated directly to the birth of Yevhen Konovalets.
є.
So
Uh,
here it is.
Додамо ще один блок.
Let's add one more block.
І на цьому блоці ми
And within this block,
розповідати про
we will
навчання
speak
і початок
about
суспільної
their
діяльності.
education and the beginning of social activities of Yevhen Konovalets in Lviv. So we add the necessary textual information.
Додаємо
We add
фотографії
the photographs,
і зразу даємо підписи для цих фотографій.
and we also provide some inscriptions to show what these photographs mean, what they show.
І ще додамо деякий текст.
And let's also add some more textual information.
Зараз хвилиночку.
Just a moment, please.
І тепер нам сюди потрібно додати на
And we need to add here one more map.
Подивіться, будь ласка, карта та ж
Please
сама,
have a look at it.
яку ми
That is the
використовували
same map
минулого разу.
as the one that we used the previous time.
Ми тільки вибираємо
We just
із списку
choose
вкладинок,
it out of their list of tabs.
ту її частину, яка присвячена
We choose the part
перебуванню
which is
Євгена
dedicated to the
Коновальця.
state of Yevhen Konovalets in Lviv.
Тепер давайте подивимося, що у нас
And now let's have a look at what we've got within the preview option. That's it.
Оновлюємо нашу сторінку.
We update our page.
Тепер, що б іще хотілося тут зробити?
Now, what else we could do here?
Справа в тому, що
The point is
ми
that
повинні якось
we
пов'язати
should somehow
наш,
link
текстовий матеріал,
our
розміщений
textual
в
material placed in the left column with the map objects located in the right column, because then the reader, while looking through a certain content, could be able to move over to the object which is located on the map. How do we do this? Well, again, no programming is required here. We just choose a fragment of the text.
Перепрошую, в конструкторі тільки вибираємо якийсь
We
фрагмент тексту.
choose it within our toolkit or our designer.
За допомогою
And
інструменту
using
гіперпосилання
the hyperlink tool,
ми вибираємо необхідний у нас
we
об'єкт.
choose
Там у нас
their
перша
necessary
частина була
object.
пов'язана
Our first part was
з
dedicated to
навчанням Львівській академічній
studies
гімназії.
in the Lviv Academic Gymnasium.
Вибрали карту.
So we have opted for this map and we have saved the changes. Then
У нас період навчання
we have the period of studies
в університеті.
at the university.
Вибираємо теку з Львівським університетом.
So again, we choose their block with Lviv University.
Збільшили, зберегли.
We increase the scale and we save the changes.
І початок суспільної
And
діяльності.
here is the commencement of his social activities.
Його робота
That is his work.
в академічній громаді. Це теж було у Львові в 1912 році, як написано в Вікіпедії. І я знайшов, де раніше у Львові знаходилося це
At least I found where this place was located in Lviv at that time. Maybe Lvivites will correct me, but it was the way Wikipedia suggested it. And here we have three links to our map. So let's check in the preview option the way it functions.
Оновлюємо результати.
So here is updating of the results. Let's start from the beginning.
Давайте пробувати.
Let's check.
Раз. І другий клік повертаємося.
Here it is, and the second click is we get to the previous location.
Два.
2,
І другий клік повертаємося.
and again we get to the previous location.
Три.
And number 3,
І третій клік повертаємо.
and again we get to the previous position.
Як ви бачите, жодного
So we can see that no programming is involved here. Everything is that simple.
Час у нас час потихеньку стікає.
You
Я
can see
хотів
that actually time flies. So probably at this moment, just in brief, I would like to focus on these maps. Where from have I taken them? Where from do I have them? The point is that maps for story maps could be generated in several different ways. You can develop them directly in your ArcGIS online, because there are special tools for you to develop a new layer for point, polygonal, linear objects and facilities. If besides ArcGIS Online, you also have a chance to use application ArcGIS Pro, you can use it the way I did. And here on the monitor, you can now see all 5 maps which are developed directly in ArcGIS Pro for this story map. Please pay attention to the fact that these maps are not a complex thing to do. They don't presuppose any complex work with maps, and all of the things which we have been using here are basic maps and just one layer for our historical point objects. And nothing more, nothing special. And after that, we just published these maps on our web pages in the cloud service, ArcGIS Online, and here they are, all published. And then I can just use them, connect them to our mapmaking story. I would like to show you now a more or less completed story map dedicated to our topic.
Будь ласка, можемо переглянути. Це вже кінцевий результат.
Here you can have a look at it. This is the final result.
Початок
The beginning
діяльності,
of his activities,
Перша світова війна,
then World War I,
корпус січових стрільців,
the Січові стрільці group,
Зверніть, будь ласка, увагу, один із
please pay attention to the fact that one of the episodes of Johan Konovalets' life
Мотовилівський бій, так званий,
is the so-called Мотовилівка battle.
насправді,
Where was it taking place?
село Мотовилівка
The village of Motovilivka is located here.
А насправді сам бій між військами гетьмана і військами Центральної Ради
But in fact, the very battle
між
was taking place between Vasilkovo
селом Барова.
and the village of Borova, here in this area.
Це у нас період еміграції.
So here is the period of immigration.
Місто Роттердам, де загинув
The city of Rotterdam, where Johan Konovalets perished.
і навіть готель
And here is even the hotel, Hotel Atlanta, in the cafe of which
вбивця вручив
the Russian killer
пакет
gave him
зі взривчатки.
a package with
Ну і,
explosives.
звичайно, що останній слайд, він
And here is the last slide, definitely dedicated to the remembrance and to the commemoration of the memory of Johan Konovalets throughout the world.
на Україні, в Литві,
In Ukraine, in Lithuania,
в Нідерландах,
in the
в
Netherlands,
країнах, де він
and in
перебував.
other countries where he used to stay for some period of time.
Я цю картографічну історію
This map story
безпосередньо перед
has been
початком
developed by me directly before our meeting, which means that all in all, I spent just some hours on this,
що я нічого не
in spite of the fact that I didn't program anything,
мені як програмісту, чесно кажучи, не
and
вистачило, але
which
тим
is
не
rather difficult for me because I am a programmer.
робив це, щоб показати
And I did this to
аудиторії не
show you how easy it is to do for a non-programmer.
які можна зробити
So,
висновки.
what conclusions could be drawn?
Сам
You can see that the very tool for developing and demonstrating information sources is very powerful. It is very accessible, and it can really be used by non-programmers but experts in a specific subject domain for solving their specific tasks, their specific problems and needs to develop information resources in their work. If you have any questions, you are welcome. I will be happy to answer them. That's all for me.
Дякую, пане Вікторе.
Thank you, Victor.
Кого виникли питання, прошу
Any
задавати.
questions,
Право.
please? We are pressed for time, but feel free to ask questions. Let
Так,
me
прошу.
Будь ласка.
Ну, по-перше, хочу подякувати
Well,
пану
first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Victor for such a clear and informative presentation. We have really seen that this is a powerful tool with which our Lyceum students could really work and create such things.
Зрозуміло, що ми будемо брати як зразок.
It's clear that we will take this as a sample, but my question is the following. If we use it, create it on a competitive basis, and there are several options of such maps, will Victor, first of all, agree to be on the jury as an expert to assess those options if it is a competition with us? And in your opinion, Victor and Ivan, in your opinion, what should be the criteria on the basis of which we could assess the work of our teams?
Наукова якась там
Maybe there should be some scientific profoundness of the research, and then Ihor Seletsky could be an expert as a scientist and museum worker. Maybe there should be also some technical criteria that are related to the design of this map development, some artistic, aesthetic things. In your opinion, what should be the criteria for us to know what the cadet Lyceum guys should be striving for? Ivan, probably you will start and I will add then. Thank you. I think that within this competition, we need to take into account the following factors. First of all, we are speaking about the upbringing component of cyberjura. And this upbringing component presupposes objective accuracy, historical accuracy, ideological, moral, and psychological load, memorizing, memorability, and all the other things that you, Taras, know better than I do. Since, if this were done by the political scientists from the 95 Kvartal, which is our show program of the current president, they would just have a piano and they would just sing songs. But this method is not acceptable. We should actually stop using some simplified approach to understanding things. I think that we will have just 10 to 15% of children who will keep working with this toolkit because it presupposes analytics intelligence in a way, preparing to passing managerial decisions. So these children must have certain skills, and these are going to be really good officers. We positioned this lesson, this class, as one of the basic things that are required for managing the automated army control system Slavutic. If children don't understand these tools, we cannot give them access to this automated army control system, let alone some other more complicated systems. You cannot actually allow them to operate a tank if they don't know the basic things. What I mean is that it's now difficult to mention specific criteria because we are now talking about more of a creativity. Maybe we will address the Karpenko-Kari Institute, Artistic Institute, and the Institutes of Social and Political Psychology for them to also be involved in this assessment. I think that we will apply a comprehensive approach, and anyway, we will manage to solve these tasks by June. The main thing is to develop the regulation about the competition. And as far as the professional side is concerned, of course, we cannot deal here without Victor. Yeah, I'm going to add that to what Ivan has said, that definitely I will not object to being a member of the jury, but in this case, I would like to be more of a consultant for your subordinates, for students. And in this respect, I've got a suggestion. I don't know how you will treat this suggestion, but I would like to offer to have a wider masterclass in working with this technology. And during that masterclass, I would show you in detail the process of the whole stage of development of this application story map, starting with information collection, planning, planning, information collection, then development of some map making products, electronic maps for this material, and up to the web application. When this is done, well, I think we can discuss this. We need to do it anyway by the deadline mentioned by Ivan Halenko. And we also need to do this in the online format. The only thing is, Ivan, you will need to help me with this. For students to be able to do this, they will need access to certain resources. They will need access to ArcGIS Online, at least. This is the least. And they will need access, at least temporary license for ArcGIS Pro application. As far as this temporary license is concerned, actually, I can help you with that because there are many people who are my students within their information portal, and they use this opportunity. The point is that Esri provides a 2-month-long, free of charge opportunity to use ArcGIS Pro. And actually, on my portal, you can find the information how you can get this product for free. As far as ArcGIS Online is concerned, well, here we must hope for cooperation with Esri Ukraine, and I hope that they will help us with the implementation of this approach. I can only add that today we have had simultaneous interpretation thanks to the support of the Esri company. That is one thing. Also, the blog post, we have a separate page where it is indicated how you can actually get a free of charge connection, and the resource is available by 2025. And also, secondary educational institutions get some access after they provide the curriculum for and the syllabi for the use. So it's not a problem, it's just a task, and we just need to treat this seriously. So as far as access to technologies is concerned, I don't see any problem with this. If we are willing to do this, if we have systemic approaches, if we have groups, hobby groups, and if curricula and syllabi are developed on the basis of which the International Academy of Geoinformatics would lobby their licenses for these hobby groups, and then we could participate in some international competitions for the children to really see that they could be equal to their peers. Well, any other questions?
Чи з'явилась на зв'язку наша Грузія?
Is Georgia online? Is Georgia with us?
Ні. Я бачу, що
No.
вони є.
I can see that they are here, but somehow that's communication, that's technology. Lithuania, what about your mic, Colonel? Are you available? Are you with us?
Тоді підводимо підсумки.
If not, then we have to summarize. Taras, you are a key co-organizer of our event and the leader of this project and the development of Cyber Jura. So please, you're welcome. The floor is yours.
Ну, якщо говорити про підсумки, я
If we
думаю,
speak about summary, I guess that during this event, we have got acquainted with this product. We have got acquainted, and you can already see the people who are interested in using this product.
дійсно зацікавлення вже
And,
тут в кулуарах, скажімо так, нашої зустрічі. Ми вже
I've already seen some informal interest among my students because we have already discussed within what disciplines we could actually apply these things. And as far as these guys are concerned, we will definitely get involved into this work and we will have a competition. We have already have some ideas on that. We are very grateful to the organizers, to the International Academy of Geoinformatics, and to Victor, who has found some time and who is ready to further help us with the steps of
українську
teaching students.
технологію. Ми зі свого боку
in the issues of advanced technologies.
освоювати. Спочатку, як кажуть,
And on our side, we will first master the basics, which we have heard today, and later,
вже щось створимо
the
своїми
moment we generate something on our own, and when we see what we get as a result of that, and when we have a clear idea of how we could organize the competition, then I think that we will get some nice results. Yeah, somehow something was wrong with your internet, Taras.
Мене чуєш?
Can you hear me?
Чуємо, да.
Yes, we can hear you. There is some temporary problem with sound.
Да, пан доктор, була.
будемо продовжувати.
So we will just keep working in this direction. And we are ready to really perceive all the information and to use it as a team for the development of some competition works, competition products that, as I hope, will be a matter of our pride, since we can present our national heroes at the international level and participate in some competitions and interact with our international partners. Thank you, Taras. Olha, Desna, can you also tell whether you will join in the competition? It's very difficult to, well, thank you first of all, and good afternoon. Thank you for this informative, interesting presentation, fascinating presentation, I would say. A really cool service. It's quick, it's simple. But I personally still have got a lot of questions as far as the work with the maps is concerned, since I'm not sure how you marked these places with the commemoration objects, and I'm interested in this. So I would gladly become the student, a trainee within the master class, where you would tell more in detail about this process. And of course, if we master that, we will be ready to teach our students and to participate in the competition. You can see, Ivan, we need a wide master class. So let's arrange it, organize it in the nearest future. Yeah, thank you for the idea.
Питання, програму таку от для того, щоб це не було.
Let's somehow finalize our program for us to get the certificates from the International Academy of Geoinformatics. I think that we should be more professional. We should, in this respect, we should have a meeting, probably have some test items, because it's not only about prizes, but the prizes should be kind of a milestone, and they should be dedicated to the 130th anniversary of Johann Conloval's death on the 14th of June. And these badges, these certificates would really prove that we have a great capacity in this respect.
Самим найближчим часом все це потрібно
I
обговорити.
think that this needs to be discussed in the nearest future. Yes, thank
Зауваження.
you. Any other suggestions, comments, questions, recommendations? Suma, Lydia?
Я согласна с Ольгой, паня.
Well, I agree to Olga that we still need some training. We still need one more lecture because it's really very interesting even for us. Maybe children understand it even quicker than we do, but for us, we need another master class. Yes, thank you. And then, with your permission, I would like to express my gratitude once again to Studio TV7 Production, our projects, our partners within the Cyber production, Esri company for assistance. Thank you for finding some time for getting acquainted
сучасними технологіями. Я
with modern technologies in the conditions of war. And I hope that we will become invincible one day. Have a nice evening and see you.
До побачення.
До побачення.
Goodbye.
До побачення. Щасливо, до зустрічі.
Goodbye. Have a nice evening.